ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best. ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning, Nigeria. Top of the morning to you, and welcome to This Morning on ITV on the ITV Network service. I am Chukwufumnanya Digwe here in our Benin Network Center, bringing you a fresh look to all the conversations that are shaping our social and political space. I'm not alone in the studio this morning. I have with me Anu Oluwakbo Stevens. Good morning to you, Anu.
Good morning, Chukwufunaya. Good week. Happy New Week.
Yes, Happy New Week. How was your weekend?
It was great, interesting, and I mean, yesterday we celebrated the Mothering Sunday across Nigeria. I joined the rest of the world, and the conversation regarding every time we go to celebrate Women's Day again, but it was so beautiful to see that, and also to note that March is actually the Women's Month, just to put it out there.
Okay, well, in my opinion, I did have this conversation with a friend just yesterday saying, you know, there's just numerous and interminable times where we get to celebrate mothers and women, and I say, with all that women give back to society, is it really enough? Well, we also have Abuja and Lagos network centers joining in the conversation this morning. Let's meet the anchor in Lagos, Patricia Gabriels. A wonderful morning to you. It's Monday. How's it in Lagos, and how are you?
Good morning, Funanya. Lagos is beautiful. And then let me start by saying happy Mother's Day to both of you. Yes, I know what I'm saying. Funanya, don't begin to wonder, but happy Mother's Day to you all. And I heard you say that you had a conversation with someone yesterday who was saying mothers are celebrated numerous times. It's even not enough for us to be celebrated, trust me. With everything that we give back to the society, it is not enough. The celebrations are not enough. But anyway, Lagos is beautiful this Monday morning. And well, the weather is still very, very hot. Oh, it is very, very hot. And then with the no light situation in Lagos, we saw last week some residents of Lagos State had taken to the streets to demonstrate on the no light issues in Lagos. Anyways, that's it from Lagos.
We'll hope to hear more from you as the program progresses. Now, right here in Benin, Anu, the whole, should I call this an agitation that happened in Imo State over the weekend, the City Boys movement, as they call it, being overcome by the Village Boys movement, as we've now heard crooned on social media and also in our social spaces. I mean, just going out there to grab those, should I call it incentives by themselves, you know, what does that tell for us as a people, you know, all of this being put out there on social media for the world to see, I feel like there's a larger implication. It's all fun and jokes now, but there's something that caused this, and it could get worse, you know, with time to come.
Absolutely. In simple terms, it says a lot about Nigeria. It says a lot about how poverty has risen and how a lot of Nigerians right now just want to crumble for anything that they can get. I mean, we saw that happened over the weekend on Saturday precisely in Imo State with the likes of Cubana Chief Priest being there chairing the movement, the City Boy movement versus the Village Boy movement. Is really, really crazy. Something that was meant to be an empowerment scheme turned out to be all rowdy. I'm pretty sure the City Boy movement, chaired by the president's son, Seyi Tinubu, didn't see all of that coming. And it will also interest you to note that we had security formation there, but with the way the crowd actually did override everything and made it all rowdy, says a lot about how poverty has eaten deep and how the conversation regarding stomach infrastructure has started up again. Why do we have this every single time come up is the big question. And how can the Nigerian government do better to improve the cost of living, improve the welfare system of Nigeria? That's also another conversation entirely. And interestingly, we'll be seeing more of this come up as we move towards the 2027 general election.
Definitely. 2027, there will be a lot to unpack. I mean, at the square just on Saturday, we got to see this play out. Basically, the agitation, like I did call it before, people going there to grab these incentives by themselves, and just the uproar. It just goes to tell how poverty has been weaponized in our society. We might see it as a joke, but it is something that is pressing and that needs to be addressed. Like you did say, the government has to do better. But what if they don't want to do better? And what if this is, like I mentioned before, a weapon to them? All this and many more will be unpacking on the program TMI on the ITV network. We'll take an intermission now, after which we'll progress to another segment of the program. Don't go away.
This is Aqua Game, a popular game in Africa played by our ancestors to entertain themselves after each day of farming. It is also relevant in our coronation in Africa. It is a sport and indeed very interesting, as every seed had a role in the game. Playtime is 45 minutes per set. There is no age limit as long as you can spin Ahwe seed. Ayo.
Welcome back. Right now we're in our newspaper review segment where we get to take a look at our national daily, see what they're saying, see what is actually in the crux of conversations in our social space. Before we proceed though, just to let you know, Dr. Sonny Juko-Kosun is in the studio right now. Good morning, Dr. Sonny.
Good morning, Chigufunaya. Good morning, Anolu Akbo. Happy Mother's Day. Just last week here, on Monday, we talked about International Women's Day, and today is, yesterday was Mother's Day or Mothering Sunday, right after the Lent. I know that by this Sunday we'll have International Girls' Day, and then by Upper Monday,
I hear sarcasm.
We'll have International Grandmother's Day.
Oh my God.
And maybe Great Grandmother's Day.
I don't think we have anything like that.
Auntie's Day and all of that. But I think fundamentally it just reflects the position that women occupy in the world and the impact that they are making. I was talking with someone yesterday at the lounge. I was like, you know, for me, the roles of women, particularly their capacities and their abilities to multitask, in a typical family setting, on mornings, weekdays, you find a woman who is preparing the kids for school. At that same time, she's putting together, you know, the meal for everybody in the kitchen. At that same time, she may even be, you know, giving attention in the other room to your gun, all of those things within that. So the capacity to multitask is so enormous. So that's whatever, even if we decide to celebrate women every day, I think it's worth it. But we're only appealing, that at least when it gets to our turn, you should be giving adequate mention and attention. I'm sure we're not asking too much.
Well, it's good to hear you give women the accolades that we deserve. And in regards to celebrating men when the time comes,
yes.
I mean, it's a man's world.
Okay.
So shall it be.
So shall it. It's a man's world. That's where you end it. Anyways, you talked about the City Boys movement and what happened in Imo. Yeah, it's very fundamental, because when you listen to some analysis in the build-up to the 2027 election, you hear people say, look, this election is between the ruling party and the people, all right? So that's why you are seeing some of these things, you know, coming into the fore. And as we make progress, getting closer to the election, we're going to see more of it. I like the fact that you mentioned that poverty has been weaponized. And this has been the pattern over the years. But the onus is on the people to open their eyes and see that the true, authentic power belongs to the people. And they can exercise that through the ballot. Get registered, get your voter's card. On the day of election, go out there and cast your vote. When you say, oh, they are going to manipulate, those are the rhetorics and the narratives they used in hoodwinking the people. Because when you have in a polling unit of about, let's say, 500 registered voters, and they all come out to vote, nobody can rig. Nobody can manipulate
that's
it.
what you say, but there's a section of Nigerians of the standpoint that 2023, people came out en masse.
Yeah.
And what happened regardless.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's also part of the developmental process. You know, we always look at things from the negative perspective. In spite of what happened in 2023, a lot of positive things happened. There were people who became senators that ordinarily should have been in the Senate.
Sure.
There were people who became governors. There were people who became House of Assembly members, House of Representative members, even though we have seen many of them defecting to ADC or to APC as the case may be. But something positive happened. And we mustn't forget that. And it's important that we look at how we can build on that. I did a video recently, I was saying, in the build up to 2027, I'm not seeing much of the opposition political parties. When you say that, oh, they want to come at you and all of that. But that's the reality. In the pre-2023, we saw the Obedient movement using the poster child of Peter Obi to drive the conversation. And Peter Obi was engaging, was interactive, was analytical, with data, with statistics. Every comment that he made.
Strong opposition.
Yes. We're not seeing that coming from the ADC. Some say, well, it's too early. All right? But sometimes you know how a journey will turn out at the beginning. And when you have strange bedfellows coming together in a political party like the ADC.
That's a phrase.
Yeah, you know, there's bound to be challenges because, you know, that rivalry will be there. In the Labour Party and the Obedient movement in 2020, it was just Peter Obi. And when he speaks, everybody listens. But now Atiku is talking, El-Rufai is talking, Amaechi is talking, Obi is talking. Do you understand what I'm saying? So there's a dissonance in the political space.
Well, yesterday, Dele Momodu was speaking at his sister station, and he was asked the same question as regards the state of opposition in Nigeria. And he said right now in the ADC, which happens to be the major opposition party, just to add to that, last week, we saw the Senate President Godswill Akpabio saying, oh, PDP is gone, and he was making mockery and joke out of it, forgetting the fact that the PDP was that party that made him who he is. So Dele Momodu yesterday said right now what we have in the opposition are just star parading themselves with likes of Rotimi Amaechi. El-Rufai is currently having his own saga. Atiku Abubakar, the Obedient movement, that's Obi, Peter Obi right there. Yeah. One would actually beg the question, if we have any strong opposition person right now that can actually stand against President Bola Tinubu come 2027 general election. And then when he was asked, he said Atiku Abubakar, but with Nigerians even tall in that line.
So that's the interesting thing. That's why I said, contrary to what we had in 2023, in the run-up to 2023, and what is obtainable now, you don't see Atiku is going to be relying on media aids to engage Nigerians. Maybe once in a while, he speaks to Nigerian stuff like that. But Peter Obi will be at the front. I'm not trying to campaign for him.
Now, mind you, Atiku has been on since 1993.
Yeah.
And he has all of the media and
it's not about how many years you have had. It's not about how old you are.
Right.
It's about where are you right now and where is the country going to? Are you current? I mean, are you current with the issues? Do you understand? What role have you played over the years? Do you understand what the issues are as it relates to Nigeria? Do you understand what I'm talking about? If you bring many of them, I mean, some years ago, we had a debate here between two senatorial candidates. And then in the debate, there's always a segment where the candidates ask themselves questions. And then one of the candidates asked the other candidate a question. He said, what's the total number of wards in Edo State? And the other candidate flared. So what do you mean? What kind of question is that? Do you understand?
Yes, he's not informed.
He's not informed. He's not aware of his environment, but he wants to lead the people. That's what we are talking about. Today, you look at the corruption index in Nigeria. You look at the human capital development index of Nigeria. You look at the poverty index of it's not encouraging. The quality of life is poor. the presidency has secured constant power supply for themselves, right? And they've cut off the national grid, so which means they're not going to be depending on, well, maybe the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, for example. They're going to be depending on internally generated power through solar and all of that, running into billions of naira. So what does that tell you? What does that tell you? It tells you that they have lost faith in the power grid of the country. So what is now my faith? What is your faith?
Now,
and what is your faith?
Right now, this was the same person in the build-up to 2023 election that said that if he doesn't provide electricity, do not vote for him at all if he wants to come back.
So this
for a
is
second
payday.
term.
This is payday.
Well, this is Nigeria. Anything goes at the end of the day.
Definitely, this is Nigeria. We'll, get to see how things pan out in time. And talking about the ADC as being, the frontier opposition party right now, I hope it's not becoming a breeding ground for failed politicians with all of the decampments into the ADC that we saw during the Thursday plenary session.
Yeah, from the Senate. It was it was massive.
It was massive.
Massive across political divide, from PDP, from
Labour Party
and all that. Everybody moving en masse to the ADC. But let's see how. But I think that it's high time they actually, get into business and start engaging the issues and then seeing how. And then we've also seen that there's been some clandestine moves to weaken the opposition. We saw that in Edo State with the attack on the Secretariat, and I think somewhere in the South, a similar incident happened, even though the government of the day came out to defend the action. Even Mr. President has said that, look, if we have people coming to join us, it means that they like what they see and they like what we are doing. So only time will tell. But I think fundamentally, power truly belongs to the ordinary Nigerian, and if we are willing to wield that power through the ballot box, I mean, things will, because we need to get it right once and for all, so we can create that system where there is confidence in the political system. Yeah.
All right, we will see and definitely bring you developments on 2027 as the time goes on. Now to the business of the day. Let's move on to our newspaper review segment. We'll take a first look at the Daily Sun. That's our first point of call. Atop there, it says, power outages, soaring energy bills push businesses to breaking point. It goes on to say, Lagosians groan as heatwave, epileptic power supply worsen hardship. And that's on page 21. Away from there, it says, Middle East crisis, food, medicine face imminent price rise as sea, air freight costs soar. A major headline on Daily Sun also says NLC lists effects of petrol price hike, says living costs unbearable for workers, demands immediate wage award, tax cuts and relief. And that's on page 6. Other stories on Daily Sun. CBN, foreign investors raise Nigeria's dollar inflows to $4.37 billion. That's on page 2. Now on the hardship, we're not inciting Nigerians. ADC tells this to the APC. It's on page 6. On Daily Sun as well, Tinubu backs Nigerian media's fight for fair revenue from big tech, promises tariff relief. That story is on page 26. Other stories say, President orders nationwide rice distribution for Lent and Ramadan. That's also on page 26. So if you want to get more on those stories, go to page 26 of Daily Sun. Also on Daily Sun, decentralized pipe protection, a fairer system for the Niger Delta. That's on their Reason With Us segment. Over to you, Dr. Sonny J.
Thank you. I think the first story there on the effects of petrol price hike is something to talk about. And unfortunately, this is not internally created. It's a result of the global economic crisis, so to speak, the result of the war on Iran. That's what has triggered what we are seeing today. But I think, like someone told me that in some civilized climes, you always have structures put in place to mitigate some of these emergencies, to cushion the effects on the ordinary man. And that's something that I think government needs to look into critically,
yes,
to ensure that the impact of this sudden economic situation.
And what even worsens, the effects of the petrol hike is the fact that there is no light.
Yeah.
So people
and they have safeguarded themselves by cutting off from the national grid.
Yeah, so it's a crazy situation.
It is. Let's look at what we have on the Guardian newspaper. It says, higher FAC earnings offer Nigeria leverage to rebuild fiscal buffers. We talked about that some few minutes back. You find that story on the Guardian newspaper. Higher FAC earnings offer Nigeria leverage to build fiscal buffers. That story is on page 6 of the Guardian. And then on page 30, it says, Yusuf strips deputy of key position, scraps Kano ministry. All right, so the factional crisis in Kano State Government House is still there. Remember, the House of Assembly is attempting to impeach the deputy governor of Kano State. Sanwo-Olu's free medical outreach for police will enhance efficiency, says DIG Zone 2, is on page 5. Middle East crisis, NLC CPPE rally FG to local solutions and safeguards. Yeah, and then PDP reconciliation talks fail as Wike faction takes control of states. That's on page 6. And how Middle East war is reinventing survival crisis. UK members of parliament urge Starmer to engage Tinubu on Christian killings. You find that story on page 4 of the Guardian newspaper. You want more of these stories? Get a copy of the Guardian. Anu?
Away from that, let's turn our attention over to the Nigerian Tribune newspaper this morning, leading with the major headline, opposition parties, lawyers, CSOs reject bid to criminalize dual party registration. Subwriter says it is a selfish agenda, ADC speaking. Amendment is unnecessary, SDP. Utomi-led movement threatens legal civil resistance. Others reject amendment bill. It is a good law, should be extended to curb defection. Okere has that to say. It is a move to suppress opposition, CSLs reacting. On page 22, you get details of this story. Still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune, why Nigeria may not benefit from global crude oil price surge, expert speaking on page 6, recommend establishment of crude reserve. Epileptic power supply, experts mull comprehensive sector reform, says JAMCO, not a civil bullet, on page 6. On page 2 of the Nigerian Tribune, Tinubu backs Nigerian media's fight for fair revenue from big tech, promises tariff relief. That's on page 2. And other stories, State Police, Delta approves construction of 25 divisional headquarters, SPU base. More details on page 4. Middle East crisis, NLC demands wage award, cost of living allowance, tax relief on page 4, which is pretty much interesting. Intrigues, horse trading, Rock Ekiti, APC, over state assembly tickets on page 22. And finally, on the Nigerian Tribune this morning, NDLEA arrests 74-year-old man with cocaine in Abuja airport on page 27.
All right, away from the Nigerian Tribune, let's now move on to our next point of call, which happens to be Vanguard. A major headline there says, displaced 3.7 million Nigerians now in 3,900 camps over insecurity. Other stories on Vanguard newspaper says, on the economy, livestock economy, it says importation extends dominance, rises 14.5% to 1.7 trillion naira. It moves on to furthermore say, how will modernize livestock sector in Nigeria? And that's by MyHa. Those stories are on page 24 and 12 respectively. Also on Vanguard newspaper, it says Tinubu backs media campaign against big tech. On page 4, on the foreign scene, it says Iran vows to hunt down, kill Netanyahu. Those stories are on page 4. Also on Vanguard newspaper, how national hero lived with disappointments till death. Now that story is on page 2. You have other stories on the Risen With Us segment. It says decentralized pipeline protection, a fairer system for the Niger Delta. Now those are the stories we have in our newspaper review segment. So if you want more on those stories, you get to grab yourself a copy of any one of those national dailies. And just to let you know once again, we're connecting stories across 3 network centers: Benin, Lagos, and Abuja. You've met us here in the studio in Benin. You've also met Patricia Gabriels in Lagos and gotten to, hear an insight on what they have for us. And in Abuja, we have Joseph Kadiri. Good morning, Joseph. How's Abuja and how are you?
Well, a very good morning to you. Good morning, Nigerians. And of course, TMI is one program that you don't want to miss because it's loaded with interesting packages. And of course, in Abuja here, what we shall be looking at is the issue of insecurity, wave of insecurity. You want to talk about the Boko Haram ISWAP issue in the Northeast. It's still there. People are still being, dealt with against their wish. And with what we have seen UNICEF come to talk about last week is the fact that children are now being, recruited into their group, into the Boko Haram, ISWAP group, and that is not good for children. Children are supposed to be in school, until, of course, they are above 18, that they can decide what they want to do for themselves. That aspect is something that is not good for the nation. And of course, when you talk about banditry, it is there in the North Central. You talk about kidnapping for ransom, is everywhere as far as this country is concerned. You want to talk about the unknown government, the Southeast. I mean, the issues are just overwhelming. And you want to ask of the promises made, towards 2023 election, and you not just oppose it with what we have on the ground. It's nothing to write home about. How come we are still grappling with these issues? Just to give us a classical example, somewhere in Kubwa here, about 2 weeks ago, about 9 children were kidnapped for ransom. But at the end of the day, even if they were rescued, after like 12 days, do you know what the parent would have passed through? The traumatic situation for both the parent and the children. So these are issues that we shall be looking at today in the course of the program. And we only hope that you stay glued to ITV.
All right, thank you so much, Joseph Kadiri, for the insights of what you'll be having in Abuja. Very timely conversation, by the way. Well, this has been and is still TMI on the ITV network. Up next is another leg of the program, which is the most important discussion segment right here in Benin. We'll be discussing the debate on power rotation, engendering political balance. It promises to be a lot. Stay with us.
Aqua game, known as the game of intellectual. This game requires a lot of mathematical skills. Aqua game is played with carved wooden box containing 12 holes.
This is Anegbete community, situated in Isako Central Local Government Area of Edo State. It is an agrarian community with united people that promotes unity and oneness for peaceful coexistence. The inhabitants of the community migrated from Benin, the cradle of black civilization, a kingdom where king is truly king. The ancestors of Anegbete saw that age was the main determinant of leadership in the rural setting, and the eldest man in the settlement was regarded as the leader who presided over meetings, and his authority is held in high esteem. To further strengthen this unique system of leadership, age group evolved in Anegbete. In Anegbete, age group is categorized into two, that is, the common and the noble. Anegbete is rich in cultural heritage, as the community at noon saw the commitment of the festival with the first set rolled out in beauty colors to showcase their might and strength, indicating their feet and ready for the responsibilities behold on them. The streets in the community with a feed up of young men and women adorned with the festival. Later, the royal family takes the stage as their children fight out royally and work in the community to showcase their might and fitness.
My leader.
Many thanks again for rejoining us on the program TMI on the ITV network as we go straight to our discussion segment. Well, for the penultimate year before an election, you always find political intrigues taking the center stage, from defections, intra-party wranglings, and of course manipulations and all of those stuff that are associated with politicking. And of course, one major issue that has always been there in our political development is the issue of power rotation, either from the north to the south, or from the south to the north, or from one senatorial district to another senatorial district, or from one federal constituency to another federal constituency, or from a state constituency to another state constituency. It's always there. Some say it's part of the political process and it helps to deepen democracy. Sometimes this may be very destructive because some politics or some parties, they are not able to survive the aftermath of such instances or such situations. Let me thank very specially Honorable Iwingare Osa-Kindness, a chieftain of the APC and also a public affairs political analyst. Thank you so much for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Sonny. It's always a pleasure to be here, and good morning, Edo people.
Fantastic. Well, the build up to 2027 is getting more interesting by the day. What is most topical and perhaps visible now is this dichotomy between the City Boys movement and the Village Boys movement. And some say that's going to be a major determinant in this election, because while the City Boys are doing their thing, the Village Boys, representing the masses, the average Nigerian person, so to speak, are also mobilizing. To what extent is that true?
Well, I'd like to quickly disagree with you by the dichotomy you tend to make between the Village Boys and the City Boys. The Village Boys does not represent the average Nigerian. Rather, it is just a division of ideas and alignments between Nigerians taking sides either for or against. Not necessarily mean that the City Boys are, from your analysis, you tend to say that the City Boys are in the minority, when you say that the average Nigerians are among the Village Boys. I'd like to quickly dispute that. But just to say that our elections just now have become something that is very, very competitive, and given the dynamics of our politics as a people, it tends to be that everybody is interested in the well-being of Nigeria and Nigerians. And political parties and alignments are various vehicles through which you can, push whatever ideas you have for the Nigerian state. So that is why you see that some say that they are City Boys, some say that they are Village Boys, but all at the end is geared towards having a Nigeria that works. I think that should be the ultimate goal. Whether you are the City Boy, you are the Village Boy, what should be the center stage and the center focus of wherever divide you belong must be that the Nigeria that work, not self-serving ideas that we tend to dominate our political discourse and our political history. But we must begin to put Nigeria first, the Nigerian project first, over and above self-serving interests. So whether City Boys or Village Boys, we must all pursue the Nigerian project. I think that is what is important just now.
We've always had this trend where the conversation surrounds power rotation to breach that balance in the political system. Before President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came on board, that came out very strongly, particularly when former President Muhammadu Buhari, a blessed member, was leaving office. And you had people saying, look, it doesn't really matter where the person comes from, that emphasizing power rotation tends to weaken the process of quality personalities emerging and coming into the political space. What do you make of this as a challenge?
Power rotation has become part of our political culture, even though it is not enshrined in the Nigerian Constitution. But it has become more like a gentleman agreement between major political parties in Nigeria. And given the dynamic of the Nigerian space, how multi-ethnic, multi-tribal, and multi-religious nation that we are, we must, by all means, ensure that a section of the country is not left out in political office distribution. I think that is why major political parties are championing the first et origo, that is the state of origin or the location of origin of those who occupy the political space. It is important that we begin to strike political balance, that we begin to strike balance among those who manage the Nigerian resources, so that one section of the country is not seen to be suffering at the expense of the other. But why that is so, we must begin also to emphasize capacity, emphasize ability to deliver over and above where you are from.
Yeah, I was going to go to that point, because is this not promoting mediocrity, inefficiency, ineffectiveness when we look at things from that perspective?
Every side of Nigeria is blessed. Nigeria is a blessed nation. Every section of this country is blessed. The arguments that it is an attempt or it will promote mediocrity are arguments of those who want to benefit from a perpetually saddling a section of the country with power. It's not correct that it promotes mediocrity. I do say, for example, that if we have currently, the president is a product of rotation. The current governor of Edo State is a product of rotation. They are direct beneficiary of this principle, because it is said or believed that it was a time of the South, and that is why the major political parties at that time presented Southern candidates. Secondly, in Edo State, you see that the major political party presented candidates from the Esan extraction. Are you now saying that among the Esan extraction, the Benin extraction, and the Afama extraction, that we do not have quality candidates that can deliver? I don't think where they are from are the issues. Among the section that these elections or this office have been zoned to, it is the ability to select the best from that area that we should be pushing. I'm not saying that it promotes that rotational democracy promotes mediocrity. I don't believe that at all. Because for equity, for fairness, for justice, every section of the country must be seen to be representing the country in managing the collective resources of the country, and not just leaving it to one section of the country at the expense of the others. And you know that you cannot completely erode or remove the idea of trying to patronize the section you are from, even though you believe that you are serving the entire country, but you must first of all pay allegiance and alliance to the area you are from. And that is, even though it is silent, it is not constitutional, but you have this alliance first to where you are from before you begin to think of other areas. Okay. So it is important that we strike a delicate balance between having to do with getting a candidate that has capacity, that has ability, that has credibility from a section that political office is on to.
What do you make of this seeming analysis that when it comes to issues like this, at the state executive level, at the presidential level, is more pronounced, but when you cascade it down to maybe senatorial district, constituency, maybe federal constituency, state constituencies, we don't seem to give this some thoughts. Are you bothered about that?
I am bothered. I am bothered. It has to do with the selfish interests of those who manage our political space. I give you a typical example of my own federal constituency, the Obaoha Federal Constituency. Since the Fourth Republic in 1999 till date, if you check it, it's about 27 years, or 28 years as it were. For that 28 years, you have had Obaoha local government producing the representative as against a local government mainly having 8 years, are you saying, Mr. Duke, that amongst the Ego elites and the Ego people, would you not have somebody that will be able to represent the people? Are you saying that Igbo people are more superior to the Igbo people? The answer is no. I think for fairness, for equity, for justice, we must strike delicate balance by zoning, by micro-zoning these political offices to the areas that are underrepresented, like we currently have in my federal constituency. I think Mr. Governor at this stage must be appealed to very strongly that he look at the issue of equity, fairness, and justice, which he himself is a direct beneficiary of. That we must microzone this federal, the next elections, as far as Igbo federal constituency is concerned. We must microzone it to a local government so that we can see that at least we go close to having, balance between 20 years of Igbo and 8 years of Igbo local government.
Okay, now there's something, I mean, using that as a foundation to deepen this conversation, is there any way, for example, you can exonerate Ego, right?
Yes.
From Igbo doing maybe 20 years, as it were? Is there any way you can exonerate? Because we know that when a candidate emerges from a political party, everybody rally around that person to push support until the person wins. So if such a person now emerges, would you say, I mean, it was, don't you think that people of Ego, for example, also have a fair share of the blame, particularly the political class who allowed that to happen and fester for such a long time?
I did said earlier when we began this conversation,
yes,
that it is the either selfish interest or poor management of those that are saddled with responsibility of managing our political space. That is why you have that. But does that mean that we will exonerate completely a local government and the people? The answer is no. Because there were instances where there were a candidate from Ego and candidate from Igbo local government. And that is why, beyond microzoning, politicians and political parties must look out for candidates that can win elections. It is not all candidates that can win elections. That is why you microzone, you must look also at the best from that area. Those who have, spread in terms of political support base. You must look at those areas. So we are not completely exonerating the government. But if, for example, let's bring it to the fore. We have Jim Adu from Igbo local government. We have E.G. Agboima, Igbo local government. We have Jude Isaide, Igbo local government. We have the first person, I can't remember his name now, from Igbo local government. All we have had is just Ifeolu Isibo, one Igbo local government. The last one, the man, unfortunately, benefited from the obedient movement at that time, who is largely unknown to the people.
No, don't say he's unknown, because
largely
that's your opinion. No, that's my opinion.
It's my opinion,
and it's subjective.
It's my opinion. It's subjective.
Yeah,
it's my opinion. Because honestly, I don't know him.
Okay.
So
a lot of people know him.
A lot of people, but I don't know him.
Yes,
I haven't been around this political space for a long time.
Yeah, a lot of people know him.
I don't know him. So that is. So you see that we must look out for the best of the candidates. What happened in that election is just Ego people, or the people cutting their nose to spite their face. That's exactly what happened. So we see that we must begin to look at the best. Even though we pursue and advocate for microzoning, we must look at the best. Somebody that has spread in terms of political support base.
Okay. Do you have such a person in mind?
For the purpose of this discourse, I'm not able to call any particular name.
But you do?
I do.
Okay, all right. We'll take a short break. Stay TMI on the ITV Network. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Please stay. Thanks again for rejoining us on the program TMI on the ITV network this lovely Monday morning. We continue our conversation on power rotation and the need for political stability in the build up to 2027. In when we talk about this, we need to zero into the fact that to a large extent the onus is on the party leadership to look critically into the structure and the systems to ensure that the best comes out and that best brings about political balance. But most times when such opportunity comes, they get it wrong. Why?
It boils down to not being selfless in terms of choices that we make. It boils down to not putting the people first in terms of the decisions and choices that we make. I think it has become more like a political culture, and steps and actions must continue to evolve to see that for the first time we get it right. And that is why I'm happy today that we have a governor in Edo State who is a core party man, who understands that election is beyond just participating. It has to snowball into victory, particularly against the backdrop of the fact that he had promised Mr. President 2.5 million votes.
Where is he going to get that from?
Well, realistically, that may not happen.
So that's idealistically.
In terms of number.
Okay. So
idealistically, it just shows that the governor is determined to win the elections.
Okay. And
not just win massively, win. That is why he said that we give the president 2.5 million votes. And in doing that, you must understand that it will not just zero in on the president. It will have to do with the choice of candidates that you bring out from the various sections of the states that will accumulate into bringing that votes and that massive victory that you have promised, Mr. President. So the government at this time must put on the focal eyesight and bicep, must be able to look beyond sentiments and the ideas of those who pursue self-serving interest and look at the general interest of the state, not just because you want to win election for the president, but he must look at for somebody who has political spread. This is key. Somebody that has the support of the majority of the people. Because, interestingly, the election of the president that he has made a promise to, and that of the other National Assembly members are taking place the same time, the same day. 3 ballot papers will be given. So you must ensure that in getting a candidate, you will not get a candidate that will make you lose the election for the president because you choose the wrong president, your candidate for the House of Representatives.
All right, let's talk generally about some of the things that are happening in the country in the build up to 2027. The concern is that there are things that are going to work against the current government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, especially with some of the promises made that, you know, they've not been able to keep to those promises. The president promised to take care of power, all right? But we hear today they have since weaned the presidency from the national grid, relying on solar and the likes, all right? And then the burgeoning problem of insecurity is still there. So what do you make of all of these issues? And then the plight of Nigerians. I mean, we're seeing the war on Iran, how it's taking its toll on the global economy with the price increase and all of that of energy and stuff like that.
Well, unfortunately for us as a country, the country is not in best shape. I have said it here, irrespective of a political alignment. When you come to this space, we must say things the way it is. The country is not in the best of shape. But does that mean that the president has failed completely? The answer is no, because there are other sections of the economy that he's doing well. Maybe Mr. President has not paid sufficient attention to power. He has not paid sufficient attention. No, he's doing a lot in terms of security, but a lot needs to be done. And that just now is not, we are not getting the best in that area. But in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of economy, the economy, I think Mr. President must be given credit. But I believe very strongly there's a lot to do in terms of security. There's a lot to be done in terms of power. And that indeed is what the Nigerian people are clamoring for. And that will play a major role in the coming election.
Mr. President is on the verge of becoming someone who midwifed a country where opposition is going into extinct and may eventually go into extinct when you look at the level of defection that this country has witnessed in the build-up to 2027.
I do not think, first of all, I do not think we are going to have a one-party system. But like I said, Mr. President is a strategist. He's a strategist and a distinguished Democrat.
By allegedly giving 250 billion naira to state governors to defect to the APC?
You are allegedly. It can't be proven in any way. I'm not sure anybody has a proof that if Mr. President says that the economy is booming and the federal government has a lot of money, okay, let us spread this money to the subnational, and you say it's because you want to go to the camp.
So you tacitly admitted that that's how what has happened. Because you said the president says the country has a lot of money and decides to spread this money.
We are operating a federal system of government where we have the central and the subnational.
Yes.
And every month there's what we call federal allocation.
Okay.
And if the president says that because of the strategies he has put in place and the government is raising a lot of money, and by so doing he spreads it to the state governor who used to borrow monies to pay salaries.
So when those monies comes before a defection, shouldn't we ask questions?
Why will you ask questions?
Why would you ask questions?
Why will you ask questions?
Why do you have to wait when they want to defect or they have defected before such monies come?
Let's get it
This
clear.
is their constitutional right.
Let's get it clear, Sonny. The monies I'm talking about their constitutionally approved monies.
Exactly the point.
I'm talking about the state allocation.
Absolutely.
A state who used to receive as low as 500 million naira is now receiving as much as 10 to 12 billion. That's why you see massive development going around across the country in terms of infrastructure. And the governors are saying, well, we have never had it this good. Some of them are two-term governors. They saw what happened in the previous administration. And they have seen much improvement in their allocations. And it is telling on the development of their states and the people. And for God's sake, you don't blame such a governor if you decide to align with a man that is midwifing that idea. And I think that's what's happening. Instead of trying to say that the president is paying the governors to defect, I don't think so. The government mainly saw that the president has improved in the allocation because of his strategic move in terms of economy, in terms of the economy and money and administration. And they decided to align with the president. I do not think that is the fault of the presidency. We must give kudos and credit to the governors who take perfect decisions by aligning with the president because of what they say that the president is doing.
If you just joined us, it's still this morning on ITV TMI on the ITV network, looking at some of the issues that are shaping the build up to 2027 election, particularly as it relates to power rotation, political balance, just to ensure that we have a structure and a system that work for everyone, even though that's a tall order. Let's really talk about the diminishing opposition effect in our political process. I mean, I saw recently, just a few minutes ago, a story on the chaos in PDP Congress in Taraba State. I mean, that's happening all across the country. But just now, the ADC seems to be like a more formidable force. Just last Thursday, we saw about 9 senators moving from everywhere to the ADC. And this movement, you would say, is a reflection of the robust disposition of Mr. President to creating the environment for people to have diverse opinion and all of that. But isn't that reflective of some of the challenges that the incumbent party, the incumbent government has brought to bear on this country, and they are beginning to get threatened by the mobilization by the ADC, as it were?
I would like a country that has a very strong opposition anytime, any day. It is good for our democracy. But unfortunately, for us as a people, you begin to ask yourself, why do people congregate politically? Why do people come together politically? Is it because they disagree genuinely with the government in power, or they see themselves not being properly patronized by the government in power, and they just congregate not for Nigeria, but the sole purpose of rescuing power from the government in power? And that is what I see. That's what I see in the ADC. Unfortunately, so the PDP, who would have been the strongest and the most formidable force and opposition against the incumbent government, have not been able to manage their internal crisis properly. And you cannot blame the president or the ruling power, the ruling government, the ruling political party for that. It's like you blaming me for not being able to manage my house while yours is working. You cannot blame Mr. President for the PDP and the leadership inability to manage internal crisis. I have said it oftentimes that internal crises are part and process of the political process. And it takes dexterity to be able to manage it. Those who have the skill of managing it, those are the people who succeed in terms of party politics. And that's what you see in the APC being managed right now by the president.
So how do you describe these attacks on ADC secretariats and efforts sometimes to prevent meetings from taking place in some states?
In some states, maybe you are referring to Edo State.
That was one.
I have not heard any other state where that happened. But again, everything we have seen in terms of the attacks on the ADC, yes, there are some isolated cases where the opposition tend to attack them and become violent towards the ADC. But I think more particularly is that what the ADC is dealing with are internal crises. Because everybody that made up that party didn't go there for idealistic reasons. Rather, didn't go there for realistic reasons. They went there for their idealistic reasons. They wanted to go pursue their selfish and personal political interest as against the collective interest of the people. And that's why you see that when they get there, interests begin to clash. Their personal interests begin to clash.
When you say everybody, are you not sounding too generalistic? When you say everybody that went into the ADC, are you not being generalistic?
No, let's look at it this way.
Yes, you have.
Who are those in the ADC?
Yes.
Atiku Abubakar.
Yes.
A Syria Dikampi, who moves from one party. Is an elder statesman, with due respect to him. But we must look at the history of these persons. He's a Syria Dikampi. We look at Amechi, a Syria Dikampi, who pursue nothing else other than selfish interest. Who else is there? We look at our senior brother, Nasir El-Rufai, who worked with Obasanjo, who worked with Buhari. The only president who couldn't work with right now is Tinubu.
Who betrayed him?
Well, you will say that. But what I have...
No, but do you believe he was betrayed?
What I have is that, are you aware that he was nominated? But there were security reports, as we were told, against him. And as a president who listens to the people, he had to do the needful. See, one of the major challenges of leadership is your ability to take difficult decisions. I would think, left to the president alone, he would have wanted El-Rufai to be part of his government. But that didn't happen because of the reports against him. As we were told, I'm not there. But those are the issues. So you see that these persons are not people who have Nigerian interests at heart, but rather they are people who are aggrieved, who have something against government in power, for one reason or the other, and they just want to congregate to see, not for the Nigeria that work, but to see that one person is unseated from the seat. It's very unfortunate. So when you see that their interest is always colluding, and it results to violence.
I wasn't surprised you didn't mention Peter Obi in this analysis.
Maybe it's an oversight. The first person I should have mentioned would have been Peter Obi, who is an impatient Nigerian, who just want to bear the name president, not minding how it happens. If Peter Obi has been stable, today would have been the most formidable opposition president against the ruling party. But unfortunately, he couldn't manage his ego. He couldn't manage his pride. He couldn't manage, he couldn't manage his unguided ambition, inordinate ambition, and that's why you find him now struggling to find food.
How do you describe his ambition, inordinate or unguided, when he is inalienable right to want to become the president, to aspire to? Yes,
that is your right.
Yes, it's your right.
That is your right. Doesn't mean
that's right.
That is your right. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't manage it. It is your right, yes, but you must manage it in the overall interest of the people. You see, in 2023, I have never, in my years of politics, see a force that strong in our political space. All Obi needed to do was to stay put, having lost the election and lost in the tribunal, was to galvanize more people. For God's sake, he has already made 6 million votes waiting for him. If he had been patient and see that more Nigerians join that 6 million and reach out to those who made it impossible for him to win at that time, which is the PDP at that time, and see how they can come together strongly, why he remains where he is. I tell you today, if election is conducted today, 60 to 50% of those who voted will be the last time who vote for him this time. Not because they hate him, but because he has shown beyond word that the support he gathered at that time, he is unable to manage it, he didn't value it, therefore he ran away to meet those who were pursuing him and those that were supporting him.
And that's because your party and your government made the Labour Party unattractive with the intractable crisis that rocked it. You remember sometime there was a factional chairman who was known to be a strong member of the APC or connected to the president.
APC has had factional chairmen across board. It is your ability to manage. It's management. Obi could not manage the APC. Now he said he wants to manage Nigeria. A man, the Labour Party, a man who couldn't manage the microcosm of a microcosm, that is the Labour Party, want to manage a vast country as Nigeria. I think that is impossible. He has shown himself to be unable to manage the Nigerian space.
We'll take a short break. You're still TMI on the ITV network. We'll be back with you in just a moment. Please stay. Thanks again for rejoining us on the program TMI on the ITV network as we gradually bring our first conversation to a close, looking at 2027 and the debate on power rotation, striking political balance or engendering political balance. We will look at, what needs to be done to ensure that the right person emerges. Interestingly, INEC's timetable, the revised INEC's timetable, has perhaps, changed a lot of things on the date of the election, where you have the presidential and the National Assembly elections taking place at the same time. Give me your take on that.
Well, I think that the INEC reverse timetable is in the best interest of Nigeria, to the judgment of INEC. And that being so, I do not think that the date of the election will have anything to do with the outcome of the election. It's just for us to be able to manage this political space in such a way that the best candidates emerge across the political party. Well, I am of the APC extraction, and I want APC to win, but I want a strong opposition. That in some area, it will not just be one person winning all the major office. If there are no opposition, for example, in the House of Assembly, we will not have a state government that is pushed to work in the best interest of the people.
All right, so we'll leave it there. I want to thank you for coming.
Yeah, but
yeah,
I would say this while we wrap up, that my appeal very strongly and passionately is to Mr. Governor, who today is the leader of our party in Edo State. And I am particularly glad. In my last count, I was on this studio more than 10 times during, before, and after the election, saying and talking to Edo people as by why they should vote this government. Today, I'm happy that the governor has made me proud. He's working. Even those who don't like him do not disagree to the fact that he's a performing governor. I'm particularly proud that I supported him. But this coming election is a litmus test to his ability to manage various interests. He must recognize that those who have worked must be adequately rewarded.
So those who work must chop.
Those who work adequately rewarded.
No, those who work must chop.
I don't know what you mean by chop. But
if you say we're saying the same thing.
If you say it is chop, if you say it is chop, I have no problem with that, because it is work. When you work, you eat.
Okay.
But that does not mean that you eat at the expense of development of Edo people.
Okay.
That is what I'm interested in. So I appeal to the governor. He must manage this coming party primaries in such a way that all interests will be captured, in such a way that there will not be aggrieved person, that if they are aggrieved person, it will be minimal in such a way that it will be managed, so that APC will be seen to be the party to beat in the election. Right. Especially against the backdrop of the fact that he himself is the product and direct beneficiary of what is fair, equity, and justice. So the issue of microzoning the various political offices, where necessary, must be looked into. I urge him to look closely at the Bobaka Federal Constitution.
Because that's my charity, they say, begins at home. Thank you for coming on the program. It's the TMI on the ITV network. We'll take a short break. When we return, we'll be joining Abuja Network Studio, where Kadri is on standby for the rest of the conversation, which will be centered on the insecurity situation in the country. In spite of all the efforts, it's really not abating. And I'm deeply concerned that these guys, bandits for example, will kidnap, get ransom. They will come on social media and display those ransom, and they'll be celebrating, jubilating in a time and in a world where technology is the order of the day. There's really more to it than meet the eye. We'll take a break. We'll be back with you with the Abuja Network Studio. Please stay.
cultural clips of Quebec. On the other side, we have the Gymnastic boys. Gymnastic boys, we don't know what we want to do now. We are bringing upstairs. We are at the first floor. We don't know what we are going to do in the second floor.
ITV, certainly the best.
In the evening of the initiation day, all the newly initiated Edion danced to the residents of the Odion Way and also visited some homes of the various senior elders, where Chief Elder Ogbedio Onwonse was very conspicuous, especially at the country home of Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osaro Igbenedion with his family on the night of the initiation. On the following morning, as part of the rite to be performed by the newly initiated Edion in Okada town, the initiates, led by Chief Elder Ogbedio Onwonse, visited the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osaro Igbenedion, at his Okada country home residence to pay homage and appreciate him for all he has done in the development of the community, which has placed Okada in world map. They also thanked him for his role in the success of their ceremony. They commended the Esama of Benin as a custodian of Benin cultural heritage and for revitalizing the age-long tradition of the age-grade ceremony.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Emobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
Yari, yari, Oba Tope!
The Oba of Benin added a colorful mood to the year's celebration as he walks round the city center amidst cheers.
It is still this morning on ITV, bringing you Abuja Network Center, where we shall be looking at the wave of insecurity in Nigeria that has been with us for close to 2 decades. The armed group, and this is something that worries UNICEF, also worries Nigeria as far as the situation is ugly and remains ugly. And to do this discussion, I have with me a public affairs analyst, Wilson Agaba. It shall be discussed via Zoom. Very good morning to you, Agaba.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Yeah, we are good. So quickly, let's get your views concerning what UNICEF raised. It has to do with recruitment of children into armed group. You know, Boko Haram, ISWAP is doing it, and what that portends for the nation.
Well, we all knew that it would be only a matter of time before this, because we noticed since past 20 years when this thing started, that our effort as a nation has not been innovative enough to go past this problem. It's like there's a wildfire and you throw water at one part, that part goes up, and you go and sit down. Why it keep burning to the other side? We have never really addressed some causes of this problem, and we have never really addressed the issues, the factors that these children are available to them. As long as things like out-of-school children will continue to grow, as long as we continue to foster a culture that allows children to be bettered and left in the street, as long as we allow the issue of unemployment to continue to fester, as long as corruption continues to be our god in this country, things like this will continue to fester and escalate. So it is not so surprising to find that this is beginning to happen, because it is only normal that when they don't see more adults to recruit, and also if it becomes difficult for the military to shoot at them if they have children among them, of course, definitely they will use them for shield. But why is it difficult for us to track the money that sponsors these people? For such number of people to be in the forest, they will eat. There is an issue of medication. There are several things. The bike, they ride around, the vehicles, they drive around, all of them use fuel. How do they get these things? Why are we not able to cut off these things? Why are we not able to intercept their communication, gather intelligence on them, and cut them off from the roof? There is this popular accredited as Sani Abacha, General Sani Abacha, who said that if insurgency lasts for more than 24 hours, then the government has a hand in it. If you apply that to this situation, it begins to look like it is true. And not to talk of the statement by Sheikh Gumi recently, that the government knows who the terrorists are, where they are, and what they want. If that is the case, then, of course, all we need to do is to stand up, roll up our sleeve, and do what needs to be done, instead of sitting down and, complaining. I think that our leaders should do better. They should be more innovative. America faced a series of attacks on their homeland. And what did they do? They innovated. They built more intelligence. They can identify issues even way before it comes to them. When September 11 happened, America did not just cry, wail, and sit down. They instituted newer programs that will forestall against such recurrence in the future. But what has insurgents taught us in Nigeria? How has it improved our security architecture? How has it improved our governance philosophy? How has it improved the way we do politics? Our politics is still as crude as it was in 1999. We recruit talk, we still get children to go and turn free, we still do a lot of things. It has not been policy based. So, at the end of the day, kind of news surprise. And to avoid, I'm not afraid of doom. If you change our approach, it's going to get worse.
Okay, thank you for that remark, Wilson. But let's begin to look at how we can have these issues identified and nip them in the bud. We know that the federal government and UNICEF is really partnering to see that some of these children who are with these bad guys are released. And when that happens, they are, integrated into the society, because UNICEF is a UN organ and will tell you that they are children. But while that is done, the objective is not achieved. Just 2024 alone, there is over 1,000 children, 525 boys, 595 girls, recruited into, child soldiers, so to speak. So these statistics, somebody definitely somewhere is taking note, which means that it's a clear thing that they are taken from where they are and then recruited. What do you think can be done to track and stop the recruitment?
First, we need to study the modus operandi. How are these children recruited? Are they adopted from their parents' home or from the road? I have been to several states in the country, including even FCT here where we are, where you see children who sleep on the road. They wander around all night, and then wherever night catches up with them, they lie down beside the building, on the road, or some of them even close to the dumpster, and sleep. So if somebody comes to such a child and say, look, I'm going to take you to a place where you will have a place to sleep, you will have food, will take care of you, and you have friends, why wouldn't the child go? One morning I was hurrying to the office, and just somewhere close to our junction, I saw a child that could not be more than 10 years, carrying a bag on his neck and taking dumpsters to look for iron condemn and all of that. This was around 5:30 a.m. And I was asking my wife, where did this one sleep? It was a very chilly morning around December. Where did he sleep? Because obviously no parent would allow their child to go out at this time of the day. So as long as we have children who are wandering our streets like that, they become easy prey. The question first should be, what can we do to ensure that these children are engaged in what they should be their age? What can we do to ensure that parents who give birth to children are held responsible for their upbringing? So these are issues that we must attend to. And then what are we going to do to ensure that parents have what it takes to take care of their children? So we have issues of enlightenment when it comes to birth. We have to talk about some cultural practices that are not healthy for our current condition. Governors have to take this to own this fight. House of Rep members, of Assembly members, women organizations, youth organizations, they need to to own this reorientation program. Above all, the federal have to show good faith. They have to package this program, sell it to these various tiers of government and non-governmental organizations, so that this thing can get done. As long as we don't get the children off the street, they are going to be easy prey. These are the ones that have been recruited we are talking about. We are not even talking about those that have been given birth to in the camps. Those women that this take, get them pregnant and they have children among them. Some that were taken pregnant and then have the children and they are brought up in the camp of the terrorists. So the federal government needs to do more. We need to stop paying lip services. We need to start attacking the issue. If you go and rescue this 1,000, they will recruit another 1,000.
Okay, now let's look at the issue of course, the bigger picture, which many people really in the Northeast cannot sleep with both eyes closed. Boko Haram and ISWAP. In the North Central, people also are sleeping during the day and at alert at night, talking about, of course, banditry. And then you come to North Central, kidnapping for ransom. You move to the east, unknown gunmen. You go to the Niger Delta area, you do resource and militancy issue. Is the government winning this war?
It doesn't appear so, except if winning has a different definition. But if winning means reducing the scale of the crime, then obviously the government is losing badly.
Then what about having those kidnapped released?
Well, when you talk to many of the people who have been kidnapped or their family member, you hear things like they raised money and paid for ransom. And government has been accused in some cases of paying ransom. Whereas I would like my person to come back home in peace, even if it means paying the ransom. I think that the government ought to have come to a point where nobody needs to pay ransom. This thing has lasted long enough. It's been more than 4 years since this thing has been happening. I'm not laying the blame on the current government alone, but I mean, we don't have a consistent program to tackle certain problems that we have. Every government comes, starts up new things, take a new dimension, and of course, 4 years or 8 years is not enough for them to get any result. All right, so we've just been everywhere but nowhere. So what we need to look at is how can we build a concerted program that will attack this problem from all directions. Number one, even if ransom were paid, can't we trace the money? Can't we continue to investigate the issue and bring the perpetrators to book? But once the ransom is paid, people are released. It seems to me that the case goes cold. And that means everybody knows that, well, if I go to do this and I kidnap a person, as long as I'm able to collect my ransom and then disappear for 2 or 3 days, everywhere is going to be okay and I come back as a big boy. I have been advocating that in order to fight corruption and also fight this criminality, we need to start with finance. We need to enact a law. What they have in the UK and other places that is called the Unexplained Wealth Act, so that it flips the burden of proof on the person who has the money. So government can catch you and say, you have XYZ billion. Prove to us that you got it legitimately. Where you are unable to prove it, it is seized from you, and then they track however you got it from there, and you can be caught for other crimes. And where you got this money, you these kind of laws are in place, our ICPC and the EFCC will stop losing cases. And then you see that most times when they finish their cases, they can then hand over to the DSS or the Nigerian police for other criminal issues they might have found out. But we pay lip services to this kind of laws. Some people will say, no, we have plenty of other laws, but we don't enforce it and all of that. But even when the institutions want to do much, how much can they do? This is not to talk about how corruption is running amok in all the tiers and the arms of our government.
Okay, yeah, very interesting point you have raised there. But as we are moving very close to the general elections, you know that there are some areas that need some level of deployment of heavy security personnel for them to actually vote. As we are moving towards the 2027 election, you know, there are some areas that still need heavy deployment of personnel for them to actually come out and campaign, you know, even though the campaigns most time are not yardstick for the candidate to win election. We have seen elections where candidates don't even, they are not even known, but yet they were returned, you know, winners of the election. Some boycott debates, you know, a platform where they're supposed to tell voters what they have for them, and yet they refuse. At the end of the day, they still win election. But by and large, there is still the need for protection, you know, in some of these volatile areas. And, you know, when resources are deployed, it leaves the back open, and that back door, the bad guys take advantage of it. So this takes me to the issue of state policing, which of course we know the IGP, Tunji Diusu, is championing. Where do you stand?
I think state policing is a good thing, right? Because it will make security closer to the people, and it will give the governor of a state some latitude to actually secure the state, since he also wears the crown of the chief security officer of the state, just like the president wears the crown of the chief security officer of the country. However, I do not think we should rush into state policing. The federal police is already having a lot of issues, from issues of internal corruption, from issues of abuse, from issues of overbearing control of politicians or by politicians. You know, all of these things are there. So we are going to have a state police that is going to be at the beck and call of the government. We must therefore have a system in place to check the excesses of the sitting government, so that it does not become a tool in the hand of the sitting government to fight political opponents. So that is one thing. The other aspect is, if we put these people in place, how can we sustain their welfare? We don't want to give a man arm, give him power and authority, and make him hungry, because it can lead to other things. How are we going to ensure that there is a proper coordination between the state police and the federal police? That is an issue we should also structure properly, so that there won't be overlap. Clearly define when the case is a state case, when it becomes a federal case. What is the role of the state police and of the federal police in a state? Because it does not mean we are going to deploy all federal police back to Abuja or scrap them. The federal police will still operate. What will be their job? How does it integrate into the job of the state police? How do they communicate? All of this should be properly laid out. The relevant laws should be adjusted so that we don't have overlap, we don't have confusion, and above all, we don't have competition among them. just like we have among the security agencies sometimes. Secondly, I don't think we should just be mounting we are going to have state police without having a proper nationwide security architecture. What I would expect from the government since this issue started, it's a general security architecture that allows for us to have posts strategically located, well equipped, so at any point the country can receive a rapid response, both on air and on land, within 10 to 15 minutes. And this is going to cost a lot. So all of our budget that we are trying to work on, a major part of it ought to have been going into security and job creation. And I said that we could actually do that from agriculture, which is the low-hanging fruit. So if we are able to identify locations where we will station our policemen well equipped with helicopters, with ammunition, with vehicles, so that if there is a call, stress call from any part of the country, a squad can at least arrive within the next 15 to 20 minutes. That would be good. And then we have to, like every other country, have a comprehensive communication system. Just like in the US, they have their 911. Somebody should be able to call and quickly report an issue. And the central communication office should be able to direct 30 units to move into that place as quickly as possible. These are the kind of things we should be spending our money on, so that issues like this, when they are just in progress, can be intercepted. Not just saying, okay, let's have state police. State police that are ill-equipped, ill-structured, and ill-trained are going to end up the same way we have a problem with the federal police today.
Yeah, but the issue you raised concerning resources, if they'll be able to take care of their welfare, as we speak now, with the removal of fuel subsidy, we are yet to see any governor complain of resources. And then the issue of, avoiding competition between state police and federal police, and also have a clear-cut demarcation of their responsibility, I do not think is something that will be difficult for the lawmakers to arrive at.
Oh, yes. It is not difficult, but I expect conversation right now to be around that. I think most of us have come to agreement that it's necessary. First, we all agree that the 300,000 policemen is too few for 200 million people.
Inadequate.
We need to increase that. One of the ways we can increase that is to increase the number of policemen in the federal police, or to create state police. So we have agreed on the fact that we are under-policed. And to a large extent, we have all come to agree on the fact that we will go the way of state policing. What I should be hearing in the National Assembly and in the State Assembly now should be, how do we make it more effective? How do we ensure that the coming of state police is going to improve our security situation? That should be the conversation. It is no longer what. It is no longer when. It is no longer where. The question now is how. That is what should be on the front burner. Those are the kind of ideas we'll be raising, critiquing, and then locking down. And that is what I'm not seeing. Now, you mentioned that the government has not complained about funds recently since the removal of fuel subsidy. My question is, can we ask the citizens of these states how better their lives have become since the removal of subsidy? Have these resources been adequately and sufficiently deployed in the states to demonstrate that the removal of subsidy has actually put more wealth in their hand? Or do we see politicians living larger, buy more SUVs, going on more foreign trips? So these are the issues. All right, so as long as we don't address this issue, it is not enough for a lot of money to go to the governor. How does the governor put it to use for the betterment of the life of the citizens? If we don't have that, or if we don't empower the mechanism that does that, then of course, it is to no avail that we increase income for the state government.
All right, I must thank you, Wilson Agaba, for your time with us on the program this morning. You have actually pointed out so many things that government need to do, beginning from the child soldiers, what they need to do to stop that, the financiers, because those that are in the bush, so to speak, they eat well, they drink well, get medication. Someone is somewhere providing those commodities. And of course, when it comes to state policing, the issue of competition between federal and state must be clearly demarcated so that that could be, some adequate security for the Nigerian people. I must thank you for your time. And now we'll move straight to Lagos Network Center for continuation of the program this morning on ITV.
Welcome to the Lagos Center for a continuation of TMI. I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels. It is a beautiful Monday morning. Yes, it's a beautiful Monday morning here in Lagos State. And we will be talking about the preparation for 2027 elections, the heat up of the preparations, what we are expecting as Nigerians, our expectations. The elections are coming closer, the politicians are beginning to, show interest. Those that one back are, once interest is highly 27 and this morning. I have Bishop James Okocha. Bishop James Grant Okocha is a political analyst. Bishop, you're welcome.
Yes, sister. Good morning. I'm glad to be here with Nigerians.
How's the fast?
Well, fine. You can see I'm trimming down. I'm getting fat in spirit.
Good to have you here this morning, Bishop. Okay, let's go straight to the discussion that's bothering a lot of Nigerians. A lot of Nigerians want to get answers to such questions. As Nigeria gradually moves towards the 2027 elections, what do you believe are the major expectations of Nigerians from the political leaders?
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, Nigerians. I feel very honored to be here, and I'm sitting here as a patriotic Nigerian, someone who believes that Nigeria should have been better than what it is today, and that's the truth. A patriotic Nigerian is a Nigerian who says it, who does not look for who to say it, who does it, who does not look for who to do it. Okay? I wouldn't wait for government to do what I can do. I wouldn't wait for the next person to do what I can do. So the patriotism there is you doing it because you know you should do it, right? So it is on that strength that I'm sitting here this morning, because we have believed that this country is a very blessed country, and then we should have advanced beyond certain things that we are experiencing in this country. Let me start, from going back memory lane. On the 20th of November, 2014, a bad trajectory was introduced to Nigerian politics, where House of Reps members had to jump fence. They have to jump fence to save Senator Aminu Tambuwal, because he was the speaker then. And then this is the introduction of APC and its character in Nigerian politics. From that time, some negative has been introduced. There is a high degree of touchery. Nigerians applauded that thing that time, applauded that incident. But what we applauded was indirectly normalizing, how do I put it, so to say. We gradually realized, we pushed out rule of law, because I didn't see any reason why House of Reps members, honorable members, should jump the fence on their agbada, on their suit. That was a national embarrassment. And since then, it's been like that. In 2027, as it's warming up, I am begging the APC to give Nigerians the space to make choices. We need candidates. We need fresh candidates. Letting people in certain circle of political terrain that should not be in this politics anymore. We are pushing for new Nigeria, and we are believing that they should be inclusive of the youth. They should be inclusive of our women in this politics.
Bishop, in the recent happenings in Nigeria, we found out that ADC venues have always been either sealed up by the police or are being, burnt down, like what happened in Rivers State. Yeah. We recently saw what happened in Cross River. I think that was just a few days ago, where they were chased away not to hold their convention or whatever they hold. Do you think this is good for the politics in Nigeria?
Everybody that is truthful should voice out to condemn that kind of act. It has happened in Ekiti. It has happened in Edo. In fact, Edo's issue is becoming very, in fact, a state of particular concern when it has to do with this, because even the governor is, speaking like there are certain persons we don't want to see in Edo. I saw someone speaking on social media that they don't want any other to campaign it, and it's hard for somebody to see the
as 2027 is heating up, as the elections are coming in 2027, how do you think this can be addressed so that we don't have, your current things happening at every time? Because really it's becoming, should I say, scary, where, other political parties cannot gather together to have their meetings. We have seen it happen in several, just mentioned, but the Wakazi is the very episode, and we all opportunity to have a balance.
Okay, this morning I'm making a very passionate appeal to the APC, because APC is the ruling party. That's why I am making this appeal to them. And recently, most of those things we see that have happened has always been, those stouts speaking in the favor of the ruling party. So that's why I am pleading that they should call their people to order. They should not drive Nigeria to a state of anarchy. They should call, that's why it's paining me, because this kind of impunity, action that you just believe it has no consequence started when I told you on the 20th of November. Are you getting it? And if you watch all through the 8 years of General Buhari, if you watch even down to last year election, you will see those kind of character playing. During General Buhari, he was like, these people did not vote for me, so nothing much should go to them. What kind of politics is that? As a leader, everybody cannot vote for you. That's certain. Everybody cannot vote for you, but whether people vote for you or not, if you become a president, you are the president of all. Do you understand me? This degree of impunity should not be. It's a concern where an APC chieftain will come out and say, if you join the APC, your sins are forgiven. But I'm telling you, go to the Senate right now. Do you know how many of the senators that have cases with EFCC? So let's not make this thing like a circle of criminals, people that are making our laws. Let's have a way. Let's have a way we introduce a degree of decency to all these things. I mean, that happened in Lagos in last election, 2023, where people will come out with audacity and say, if you come out to vote and you didn't vote for this particular party, we will throw you into the canal. You'll be killed. Is that democracy? And I'm telling you honestly, having followed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from Nadeko, and all of that, Moshood Abiola time, down to I is a Democrat. And I believe that the Democrats should not allow this degree of impunity under his watch, because it will mess up every trajectory he has set there, for time. It will mess it up.
Okay, do you think the president is aware of all this?
President? Is he aware of all this?
Yes.
Then why do you call him president? He presides. He oversees. He has ministers. He has advisors. He has
Bishop.
Yes.
As humans, the ministers, the advisors could go and tell him something different.
Well, I don't believe that because we are here in Nigeria. These things are on the social space. These things are on the social space. If the president has 100% around him, 90 might be telling him, what is not. But the 100 cannot tell him what is not. The president cannot say he's not aware that his party is, obstructing, peaceful gathering of other political parties. That is infringement to their rights and privileges as Nigerians. They have freedom of association. Do you understand me? Where governors will make an announcement, so party people should not, should not be allowed to campaign here. Is that democracy? That's brutality.
Okay, Bishop, let's move on. I see the heating up from you already. The heating up towards 2027 elections. I see that it's heating up inside the studio right now from you. But let's move on. So many Nigerians often express disappointment after elections. What do you think must change before 2027 to restore public trust in the political system?
Yeah, the space we had to change things, the National Assembly messed it up. Nothing would have restored our confidence like electronic transfer, real-time electronic transfer. Because 2023, you saw how Nigerians came out. It happened during Abiola Tofa. Nigerians came out. Now we saw a repetition of that for the first time during Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president, His Excellency Mr. P2B, His Excellency Atiku Abubakar, 2023 election. Nigerians came out. Nigerians were willing. Patriotism came alive. Let me shock you that there is no infrastructure. There is no this, there is no that. It's not the problem of Nigeria. The problem of Nigeria is lack of patriotism. In fact, it is patriotism that provokes a leader to do all those things. I just came back, I travel. I just came back from other states. I said, wow, this is not a propaganda. I was amazed. If the governor is not doing it, God forbid, I will say something positive. Because as a religious leader, it is in my place to speak the truth to power. Even if it's my father, I will tell him, Daddy, you are wrong here. You are right here. That knows me, know me for sure. Do you understand me?
Sure.
So what I am saying is, if they had allowed, real-time electronic transfer, look at what happened. The last election that happened in Abuja can tell you what is going to happen. Even himself, Yes Wike, complained. People didn't turn out because they lost trust in it. But the family under Senator Godswill Akpabio had, the space, that privilege to provoke, high spirit of Nigerianness in us. But yet they dashed our hope.
Okay, so what do you think can be done, to restore this public lack of trust for the police? What do you think can be done before the 2027 elections?
If I bought from the legendary musician Fela, I listened to him. That guy is something else. Government magic. Government magic. Government is sincerity. Government playing games. Nigeria is the only giant that feeds on her children. Nigeria, I repeat, Nigeria is the only giant that feeds on her children. And when you feed on your children, tell me how you can boast of posterity. Do you understand me? So, if they really want this petroleum to come alive, let Nigerian government become open and transparent. There is no transparency. So many things on the book that is not, casted on ground. Let me tell you, to be very, frank with you. Tell me the change that has happened, the hope that has been renewed in education sector. Tell me the hope that has been renewed in health system. Tell me the hope that has been renewed.
But Bishop, that's on you. That's you speaking, because the leaders of the APC party will not want to agree with you, because they will point out that they've done this, they've done that, they've done that. I mean, they will start with the Coastal Road. They're putting up together the Coastal Road. So this your, it's your opinion, really.
Yeah, my opinion is the opinion of many Nigerians. Let me tell you, before that Coastal Road, people should drive on it, isn't it? Is it when people die? That Coastal Road shouldn't be first. Health is wealth. Why should, if you see what I'm saying is not correct, why should Nigerian leaders, how many government personality from UK have been flown into Nigeria for medical treatment? How many have come from America that have come here for medical treatment? Why should we be flying our political officers, leaders, to treat them in UK? Why should we? If we have done well, how could a snake bite result to death? If we have done well. Let me tell you, I don't come here to say what I'm not sure of. I drove the Coastal Road last month. To be sure, it's a government of propaganda. It's a state of propaganda. Are you getting it? So when I hear things, I do. That Coastal Road, I drove there. It's just a very short place that has been done. I drove there. So it's not as public. And I'm telling you that even that Coastal Road is like putting a round peg on a square hole. Health first.
Health first. Health first, yes. Health first. Everybody will agree to that, because you need to have your people to be able to rule them. But let's come back to you as a leader, as a religious leader. How important is moral leadership in shaping the political direction of the country? You as a religious leader, how important is this?
Well, some people might not believe, in what I'm trying to, but it's the truth. It's a struggle. There is a proliferation even in the circle of religion. Do you understand?
Yeah.
The so-called immorality, whatever you can think of. Can you tell me why I have been on the street visiting states in the north? I can tell you the things that happen in Plateau. I can tell you the things that happen in Benue State concerning genocide. I have first-hand information because I visited some people. Look at me. Where they call Jos Jarawa Cooking Church. I had a program there. And the church was attacked after my program. So how could people come out and say there is no genocide? What we should have done as religious leaders, yeah, there is, but we work on it. Do you understand me? But for you to deny the fact, it's a call to questioning. Even the so-called religious leaders, like me, religion is one of the problems we have in Nigeria. Religion. Don't forget that there's a difference between having worship God, religious. What the things in that circle of religion, you cannot believe it. Religion and politics is religion. These are twin brothers separate. Everything we see in the political circle are happening in the religious circle. Do you know that even now, right now, religious people, so-called, will want to do the election, and they will rig it.
Even amongst the Christian leaders.
They will rig the elections. I don't want to mention names. They will rig it. Just like what happened in Bayelsa, in PFN election. You know, there are clashes, even among them. So it's a whole lot of issue. So I don't know where to start from. But my advice is, can religious leaders, so-called, be firm to justice? Can they be firm to justice? Can they speak the truth at all times? Because let me tell you, most political leaders need correction. Some of them, when you call them to, but because the religious leaders are aiding what the political leaders are doing, they are toying the same pattern. Man, tell me who serves us.
Okay, so I was going to ask, what role should religious institutions and community leaders play in promoting peace and political engagement as the nation moves to 2027?
You see, it is aberration to push the philosophy of peace when you have not taken care of justice. It cannot happen. Understand? If religious leaders should want peace to be the hallmark of this country, let them go for justice. Let them speak the truth. That is all. If there is justice, equity, definitely there will be peace. So my advice to my fellow religious leaders in court is to speak the truth at all times. Be fair. Be fair. Don't because someone is, giving you money or doing this, and then you say things that are not the way they ought to be. We cannot have peace if we keep pretending. If we're not calling a spade, if we're not calling to order, even our political leaders, check the Bible. When a king goes wrong, a prophet corrects him. And I am not asking them, because this is another notion. Some people will be pushing the narrative that religious leaders, what are they doing in the political circle? Let me tell you, they might not be politicians, but every human being is political in nature. Yeah. Because in politics, you elect people, all right, that make policies that we all are subjected under. So if you don't participate in the process of bringing people that make policies, no one speaks your interest. So my advice is that religious leaders should be firm, should speak at all times, and to correct. There is nobody that is in politics leading today in Nigeria that does not belong to Christianity or Islam or traditional worship. These guys have where they pay, homage to. They have who they have loyalty to. So those people should be an instrument of correction to our political leaders.
Well, instrument of correction. Anyways, let's move on. Let's ask, in recent elections, voters' apathy has been a major concern. What do you think can be done? The very recent elections that just happened in FCT. We also saw how it played out. What do you think can be done to encourage more Nigerians to participate actively in the electoral process?
Well, I don't know, because the timetable will just, the election timetable is there, and then you see everybody is now gearing towards the election. But up to this time, I think it should have been done before now. Do you understand? I was telling you, if people have been given the confidence that their vote will count, all right? I don't know how true it is. Allegedly, I watch on the social media, though most of these things could be doctored. But most of the people, we watch the social media in Anambra election, where people that came to vote asked for the result sheet. It wasn't there. They were voting just to make it look like there's a vote going on. What you can tell such people to come out and vote next time, they'll come, because they know that you're exposing them under the sun and the security risk, for no reason.
Okay, so that's why this program this morning, looking towards 2027 elections. What exactly do you think can be done?
Can the National Assembly revisit the the electoral reform? If they can, that will be fine. Can they revisit that electoral reform act?
Do you think we still have the time to do that?
Well, that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm telling you. I'm assuring you that if care is not taken, voters' apathy 2027 will be a climax. Because as it stands today, the time frame to do certain things, I don't think they are there. But be that as it may, they have, to an extent, done this. They can also be fair. They can, all this brutality, pushing Nigeria to a one-party system, disrupting, sending touts to disrupt, other gatherings. If such things are relaxed, because as you're doing this, you are increasing the tension. The people are thinking this election is a do or die thing.
Yeah, everybody is saying that. So I was going to come into that. I was going to say, do you think Nigerians will be afraid, will have fear for 2027 elections? Because everybody is scared. I mean, I've heard a lot of Nigerians say it's like there will be a lot of blood in 2027 elections. How do you think that will happen? Or do you think there will be some kind of free and fair elections in 2027?
Well, somehow I will attribute that to God. God has always made, as a nation, all right? Everyone thought that 2015 would have been the end of Nigeria, okay? Because in a state of anarchy, you know what it means to have law. Do you understand? So for me, I am urging all the political parties, I am urging them to be fair. This is not a do-die thing.
Quickly, Bishop, quickly, what advice will you give Nigerians who are hopeful for change but feel frustrated with the current political environment? Quickly.
Okay, my advice is that we should be hopeful. Nigeria will get better. Do you understand? And it cannot just get better by utterances and prayers alone. It will get better by our, participation. Everyone should get involved. Even though the system is bad, people will fix it. People will change. Come out and vote and defend your vote. I'm telling you that if we do, the voice of the people, goes a long way to correcting an ill in the system.
Finally, before we round off this program this morning, what is a message of hope to Nigerians as the country begins to prepare for another important electoral cycle?
Yeah, my
APC campaigns with
renewed
hope. So what is your own hope to Nigerians as the country begins to prepare?
Well, I know that we are fantastic people. I know that gifts are, going around the place. I'm telling Nigerians, don't allow your conscience to be bought. You may get freezer the way I saw it distributed in the state. They may give you freezer as they gave the one woman, she was shot. Don't understand, it's our money. Nobody is in his pocket. All right, now I'm asking the government, I'm pleading with them, don't turn us to a country of palliative. Instead of those palliative, do work. We want to see industries. We want to see people employed. To do that, you will speak less, your action will speak more. So Nigerians, calm down, because there is hope at the end of the tunnel.
Calm down, because there's hope at the end of the tunnel, what Bishop just said. And he says, be patient. Don't think that, okay, the freezers are free. That's what Bishop said, that the freezers are your money. But come out with a person that you think will be able to fix the country. As Nigerians, you want the country to be fixed. So come 2027, come out and vote. Bishop is advising, come out and vote. Our votes will be counted, hopefully. Anyway, we come to the end of the program this morning. Thank you, Bishop, as always, for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nigerians.
Okay. We'll see you same time tomorrow. My name is Patricia Uremu Gabriel. Stay blessed.
Hello, welcome to the news update on ITV. I am Anuluwakbo Stevens. The spiritual leader of the Christ Chosen Church of God International, Senior Apostle David Inuefe, has encouraged couples trusting God for children to remain steadfast in faith, assuring them that barrenness was not part of God's original plan for humanity. The cleric made the remark while delivering a sermon during a special gathering of women praying for the fruit of the womb at the GRA branch of the church along Airport Road in Benin City. Jola Deojo completes the story.
The congregation danced and offered praises to God during the special church service. Quoting from the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 28, Senior Apostle Unuefe noted that God blessed mankind at creation and commanded them to be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth and have dominion over it. According to him, this divine instruction shows that God's plan for humanity includes fruitfulness and the blessing of children for families. He further referenced the book of Ecclesiastes, explaining that God makes everything beautiful in his own time, urging those seeking the fruit of the womb to remain patient and trust in God's timing.
Do not go back to make sacrifice to any juju, any water, any man-made God. Give your life to Christ. We have been praying about this program. God said it. So shall he. About testimonies. And last year, we came here. So many people received their blessings. Is that true? Every year like that. You will not go home empty-handed. Amen. Cry no more.
Yes, Lord.
If you know that in the beginning, when God created this world, that you were in God's plan, cry no more. Do what?
Cry no
Cry
more.
no more. But the plan of God supersedes age. God's plan for me is that I should be fruitful.
Yes.
The spiritual leader also warned against seeking solutions from other gods or making sacrifices in desperation for children. He advised the women to wait upon God in faith, assuring them that their blessings would manifest in due time as obedient children of God. The prayer gathering attracted women from different branches of the church who came together in faith, believing God for the blessings of children. From Benin, Jola Deojo, ITV News.
Meanwhile, 38 newly trained field rangers have successfully completed their basic field training at the Okomu National Park in Edo State. The personnel parade held at the Arakwat Rangers Camp marks another milestone in efforts to strengthen wildlife protection and conservation in Nigeria. Dole and Amir reports that the training was facilitated by the Africa Nature Investors Foundation in collaboration with the National Park Service as part of its commitment to safeguarding biodiversity and supporting park management.
The parade ground at Arawan Ranger Camp in the Okomu National Park came alive as the 38 field rangers marched in formation, marking the successful completion of their basic field ranger training. Speaking on behalf of the Executive Director of the African Nature Investors Foundation, Mr. Tunde Murakinyo, the Director of the organization and retired military officer Olajide Laleye, commended the trainees for their discipline and dedication, noting that well-trained rangers remain critical to the protections of Nigeria's natural heritage.
After 6 weeks of intense training, we have highly motivated, highly disciplined, dedicated young men who are ready to give selfless service.
The reviewing officer and conservator of park at Okomu National Park, Lawrence Osaze, urged the newly inducted rangers to uphold professionalism.
They have been trained in wildlife law enforcement, patrol techniques, intelligence gathering, field survival, discipline, and teamwork skills.
The country manager of the foundation, Nacha Godfrey, and the senior strategy advisor of ANI, Dr. Okeyiyon Abuola, described the training as part of ongoing efforts to strengthen conservation partnership.
ANI is a not-for-profit organization that has signed a co-management agreement with the Nigerian federal government through the National Park Service to help work with the government and the communities.
Government cannot do this job alone. So the coming of ANI, honestly speaking, is a game changer.
The highlight of the ceremony was the presentation of awards to outstanding trainees, with Julius Etinyosa emerging as the best overall ranger during the training.
I'm assured to do many the work best, and also
to be the best fit in the field.
Stakeholders at the event deliver goodwill messages. Certificates were presented to the new officers and training officials. The event was graced by top officials of Nigerian Army, Nigerian Police Force, and Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. From Okumu National Park, Donald Minyeng, ITV News.
Another milestone has been recorded by Rotary Club District 9141 Benin with the inauguration of a borehole project at a secondary school in Benin City. The club also donated 24 student decks capable of accommodating 120 students and planted trees within the school premises to help control soil erosion. Jola Deojo reports.
In his remarks, the district governor nominee, Veteran Okoje Percy, described the occasion as remarkable, noting the excitement on the faces of both teachers and pupils. He said, for over a decade, the club has maintained an outstanding record of carrying out similar humanitarian gestures in schools and communities across the district.
This is one of our numerous projects done by one of our clubs. In the district, we have 171 clubs. It's just one club who has come here today to give water to this community, the school and the environment and the environs, to give chairs and also to plant some trees. We'd like to impact on those who feel need our services.
In a related development, the district president, Rotarian Suleiman, disclosed that the project was initiated to address the pitiable situation faced by students of the school, especially female students, who sometimes stay away from school during their menstrual periods due to the lack of potable running water within the school compound. He also described the tree planting as a laudable initiative and encouraged the public to cultivate the habit, stressing that it promotes a healthier environment and helps prevent soil erosion and land degradation.
We decided to support the school with about 40 pieces of desks that would, about 120 students will use. And I can tell you that for the water project, it's going to impact over 3,000 persons in this community.
Government alone cannot do it. We need people like this in our society that can complement the efforts in helping the education system.
Rotary has come to the life of Ogetu today by giving us running water borehole that before now that was not there.
From Benin, Jola Deojo, ITV News.
As preparation intensifies for the Edo State local government elections, Princess Faith Obazua from Igor local government area has declared her intention to contest for the chairmanship position under the All Progressive Congress APC. Princess Faith made the declaration at the APC Secretariat in Igor amid cheers from party supporters and members. Efosa Owangwe reports.
It was a lively atmosphere at the APC Secretariat, Igor local government area, as chairmanship aspirant Princess Faith Iriagbonsi Obozua arrived with her supporters to formally declare her intention to contest under the platform of the All Progressive Congress. Princess Iriagbonsi Obozua, who is the president and founder of New Vision Women Worldwide, said her decision to join the race was driven by a desire to bring democratic dividends and meaningful development to the people of Igor. Addressing party members and supporters, she noted that her aspiration is born out of a genuine commitment to change the narrative of governance in the local government for the better. She emphasized that her ambition is not only about women, but about inclusive leadership that cuts across all genders and groups, while appealing to party delegates to support her candidacy.
I know how to bring everybody together, and I am promising my people that giving me the opportunity to be the council chairman of the local government, I will create a platform where I will bring the leadership together, we will deliberate and rub mind together how to move Igor forward.
Secretary of the APC in Igor local government area, who represented the party chairman at the event, commended Princess Iriagbonsi for her courage and political participation. He assured aspirants that the party remains impartial and will provide a level playing field for all contestants in the forthcoming primary election. Sans also.
It's a notice of intention. We would have done more and said more today. But at that time, the local government is still mourning. However, we are not bank. Mahoney.
Supporters at the declaration event expressed confidence in her leadership ability, describing her as capable of repositioning Ego local government for growth and development. From Benin, Efosa Wangwe, ITV News.
Meanwhile, the body of late Pastor Stephen Obibo, who passed away at the age of 97, have been laid to rest amid tributes and solemn ceremonies attended by family members, friends, and well-wishers. The burial ceremony, held in honor of the nonagenarian, drew dignitaries, community leaders, and loved ones who gathered to celebrate a life described as impactful and devoted to family and community service. Oluwafemi Fariola reports.
The officiating minister, Barabasi Aloha, urged those present to reflect on the inevitability of death and the importance of living a life worthy of emulation.
Over the years, like Brother Obebo, the reason we are here, the day of death is indeed better than the day of death. Our hearts are heavy as we are gathered here, especially more so to those who have personal contact with Brother Ogbebo when he was alive.
The body of the late Pastor Stephen Ewemade Ogbebo was thereafter interred, with family members paying their last respects. Members of the Ogbebo family expressed gratitude to God for the long and fulfilled life their patriarch lived, noting that he was a loving father, grandfather, and mentor whose counsel and guidance shaped many lives.
I love him so much with all my heart. He was so peaceful, loving, kind, gentle, and among God, he was so humble. He will forever be remembered.
My dad was a lovely person. Throughout his life time, he was a devoted Jehovah's Witness. Baba never compromised his faith. Baba lived a free life.
My grandpa was a very lovely man. He was like a dad to us. I want to especially thank everyone for coming to my grandpa's burial, joining us to celebrate the life he lived.
Grandpa was a nice man. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't talk as in, he's not esteemed when he talks. But when he talks wisdom. And we're going to miss Grandpa. We're going to miss him very well.
Stephen Ogbebo was a very kind and lovely father. The way he handled people and the way he also handled matter, and will be dearly missed.
Guests were treated to different delicacies. Born on March 20th, 1928, Pastor Stephen Ewemade Ogbebo, who died at the age of 97, lived a life that radiated faith, humility, and unwavering love. Oluwafemi Fariola, ITV News.
The Big Baylor Event Center, located at Obage Newosa along Sapler Road in Ikwebaoka local government area of Edo State, has been inaugurated for public use. The ultra-modern facility also features a content studio designed for content creators to carry out their productions and business activities. Jonah Amorwa completes the story.
The grand opening Big Baylor Event Center, situated at kilometer 10 Obage Newosa up Sapler Road in Benin City, attracted several guests from different walks of life, including community leaders. They commended the Chief Executive Officer of the facility for the investment, noting that it will create employment opportunities for youths in the community.
The environment is very serene, very conducive, well located. As you have come to celebrate with us, God will continue to celebrate you in Jesus' name.
I'm here to celebrate the opening of this edifice today. Thank God for a very long time we started the building. Today, it has been perfected.
This center is going to produce job opportunities for indigents of the immediate community and Edo citizens. And that is how to impact on the economy. Private investment is what drives any economy anywhere in the world. And Babake has demonstrated his commitment and patriotism to Edo State and to Benin City in particular.
According to the manager of the facility, Mr. Irabo, the event center provides essential infrastructure needed for the comfort of guests. He explained that the atmosphere and quality of a venue often set the tone for events, reflect their identity, and help establish credibility for corporate functions, as well as the appropriate mood for social gathering.
I want to call on the public to come and see what we have, the facility, the kind of facility that we have here. It's not just only an event center, we also have a content studio.
Guests at the event were also taking on a guided tour of the facility. From Benin, Jonah Omowa, ITV News.
The Nigerian Institute of Building has partnered with West Africa Ceramics Limited to provide training and capacity development for construction artisans. Joy Obasiabo reports that the collaboration was announced by the chairman of the Nigeria Institute of Building Edo State Chapter, Evans Idahosa, during a press conference held at the NIOB Secretariat along Murtala Mohammed Way in Benin City.
Following recurring cases of building collapse in Nigeria, builders in Edo State organized a press conference to commemorate Builders' Day 2026. According to the state chairman, Mr. Idahosa, the event themed Advocacy for Policy Influence towards Sustainable Reforms for a Resilient Built Environment is aimed at encouraging best construction practices in the building industry.
Recognition of this critical need that the Nigerian Institute of Building is today entering into a strategic partnership with West Africa Ceramics Limited through the signing of a memorandum of understanding for the training of capacity development of construction artisans. This partnership reflects a significant step towards strengthening technical competency within the construction workforce.
The vice chairman of NIOB Edo State Chapter, Samson Areladia, urged government to enact laws that promote the use of quality building materials. He also emphasized the need for professionals in the sector to focus strictly on their areas of expertise.
The government should implement all the building code and practice so that as we are practicing, every professional will face their own feet and endeavors to be able to avoid building collapse.
Some members of the institute also called on the public to always engage registered building professionals in construction projects to prevent building collapse and ensure a safer built environment.
Builders Day set aside to advocate on the need for professional practice in built environment. Also advocate and sensitize the general public on the need to engage a registered builder in the building procurement and management. And on this day,
we paid a visit to schools and also government facilitators. We meet with the fiscal planning and public building.
From Benin, Joy Obaisiagbon, ITV News.
And that ends the news at this time. Many thanks for watching. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. Good morning.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good morning. This is CMI Socials. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. I better still call me a social media butterfly. Now this morning we begin in Imo State, where over the weekend the empowerment program organized by the City Boys Movement for the people of the Southeast ended in chaos on Saturday as participants scrambled for livelihood support items. The event held at Rear Admiral Undubisi Kanu Square, Owerri, Imo State, turned into a free-for-all over items such as sewing machines, deep freezers, grinding machines, and laptops. Let's take a look. Well, it seems this woman had a different feel to everything that went on over the weekend in Imo State. Take a look.
Oh my God, oh my children, we vote for you. We vote for you. We vote for you. We vote for you.
Politics, politics, politics. How did you take this online? Let's have tweets and reactions. We'll start off with this user on X who wrote, "The power within the people is greater than the people in power." Godwin on Instagram had that to say. This user on X wrote, "See what poverty has done to Nigerians." Another user reacting to this story says, "Laugh out loud, this is not power to the people. This is thuggery, and as usual, we are promoting it because it suits us. If city boys invaded village boys, would it also be called taking what's rightfully theirs?" Good question. But away from that, let's go over to Abuja, where in a 15-second video from Suleja, 30 kilometers away from Abuja, well, shows a medical staff relying on mobile torches amid a power outage at the state-run facility with no backup generators in sight. Now, this clip drew outrage from government neglect, especially as Health Minister Muhammad Ali Pate noted that his ministry received only 36 million naira of its 218 billion naira 2025 capital budget so far. Now, this video has been trending online with a lot of persons reacting to it, and also trying to contrast to it with the video that went over the weekend with Minister of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, providing luxurious houses to judges. Let's take a look at that one. Well, that's the luxurious quarter. Over 40 duplex there in Abuja, recently been built for judges in Abuja from the FCT minister. Now, how did you take this online with Nigerians trying to construct the previous video with this other one? This user says, Wike is building Judges Lodge in Abuja. Meanwhile, this is a general hospital in Suleja where nurses are forced to work with torchlight. Another user reacting to this one wrote, "The truth is that most hospitals in Nigeria do not have 24 hours light, even in teaching hospitals and federal medical centers. Our healthcare managers are poorly trained." Now, finally reacting to this viral video, this user wrote, "Politicians don't bother fixing the medical sector because they fly abroad for treatment. They rather enjoy the benefits of other countries' development than repair Nigeria, leaving the people in suffer deliberately. The government through Wike can spend heavily on judges but can't fix ordinary hospitals that are essential social amenities." Now, away from that, we move over to Sokoto State, where in a now viral video, residents of Baraja in Sokoto State are abandoning their mud houses due to repeated attacks by bandits loyal to Kingpin Bello Tuji, including killings and kidnappings as recent as March 14th to 15th. Now, video shows men, women, and children fleeing dusty roads, verified by an online platform as community empties into safer areas despite the holy month. Take a look.
Suna watsa suna barin gari saboda masiwa ta aishe su kullum sai banda sun shigo garin sun kashe mutane. Sun yi iyakacin kokarin su yau abu ya kai inda ya kai. Gargaja an cima lokacin za ta wacewa. An cima lokacin za ta wacewa. Ga mutanen Bargaja nan wasu ƙasa wasu bisa mota ana barin gari saboda al'amari ya riga ya ɓaci. Kullum sai banda sun shigo sun kashe mutane. Kullum kashe.
Well, reacting to this video online, here is what this user had to say. If you ask them where they are heading to, they will say Lagos, according to King Days. Another user reacting to this one wrote, "This is heartbreaking. No one should have to flee their home because of violence. The safety of residents in affected areas must be a priority. What is Nigerian government even doing about this insecurity?" Now finally, on the story, this user wrote, "Imagine leaving the home you built because staying could cost you your life. This is painful to watch." And on that note, we wrap up TMI Socials this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I am Anuoluwakbo Stevens. And from all of us on This Morning on ITV, please stay safe.